Okay, this is the blue snowball now. OBS, why do you do this to me? Yeah, Scott, that's kind of the other way around. Like, okay, now I'm a ventriloquist. You can't see my mouth moving. I just didn't look at the little doohickey thingamybobs. So I just changed it in the settings, and now it's right. Ta-da! Last time I didn't do that, though, so I don't know. The blue snowball does work. I'm very glad. It's also got the desktop audio in there. I don't know why. Anyhow, as I was saying before you could hear me, what a week it's been. The last 2 weeks have had so much stuff packed into them that it seems like it might have been 2 months. It has not been 2 months, though. It has only been 2 weeks since the last stream. I will pop on real quick and let you know that there is not going to be a Saturday 6 weekend after next because I won't be here. I will be at Disney World. I'm really excited. We're going for 10 days, although I think we've got 5 days of park tickets. Radical Bacon, I'm really not sure. I bet Sarah could tell you. So, yeah, I do want to acknowledge that there have been some really, really bad things that have happened. Specifically, the shooting in Buffalo and the shooting in Uvalde. And my brother lives near Goshen, Indiana, and he said that they had a mass shooting, but it did not make national news because there were only 5 people. This is the society that we accept, or hopefully are working to change. And I hope you're working to change it. I know it can feel overwhelming. I know you can't change it by yourself. I can't change it by myself either. Haha. But there are some things we can do, and I'm actually going to touch on that a little bit. So without further ado, here we go. Saturday 6. So I did want to give you an update. The last Saturday 6 was the day of prom. So, as you know, I was all gussied up, so I figured I would start with a prom update. All right, so now we go to this button here, and I go click on this, and scoot over a little bit. That's just a selfie. It came out so nice. Yeah, I had a former student who's actually, well, I'll talk about that later. A former student who did my hair, and she did a side braid for me, and I put silk flowers on bobby pins, stuck them in there, and that was it. That was really all there was to it. It was pretty simple. The most challenging part was getting the flowers to stick to the bobby pins and not my fingers. That was fun. So it was definitely an interesting experience. This was the theme was Casino Royale, and this is the first real prom that our school's gotten to have since COVID. Now, last year they did have prom, but they had it out on the football field so that they could space the tables out more. I think they had fewer chairs per table. It was, I don't think it was effective as far as social distancing. But fortunately, we do live in a very rural area, and cases have been really low. So we've been very fortunate. I know that recently there has been an uptick in cases and mortality. But for the most part, that hasn't affected us too much. I did have one student who got COVID the week before finals, but he got better and was able to come, not just for finals, but for earlier that week for some of the review and stuff. So, yay him. He passed the final, he passed the class. We're all very happy about that. Well, Steve, it was remember that we're not allowed to show R-rated movies, as well as all movies that we show have to go through administrative approval. You have to fill out a packet of information. You have to indicate how it's going to be used in class and how it connects to the standards, and include any relevant activities or materials that are going to be handed out, what the students are going to do, and again, how it relates instructionally. So this was instructionally, no, I don't know that this was instructionally appropriate, but this is at least at best the PG-13. So yes, to my knowledge, all the chairs had seats. So yeah, it was pretty. There's a little slot machine. They didn't actually have any gambling to my knowledge, but the tables had cute little mementos. I don't know if you can see on the far side of the table, they have like poker chips, and they're not personalized exactly, but I mean, because they're not like individually for each student personalized, but they say our school name, and they have a picture of our school mascot, which is a car, on them. So it was all pretty cool. I kept a couple of them, which if I thought about that beforehand, I would have grabbed a couple just to show you, but I didn't, because I was making sure that I blurred out student faces. And I got to take pictures with some of the students who were there, and I had a really good time. It was, you always get a little, as a chaperone, you always get a little bit nervous when you hear a lot of cheering and yelling from the dance floor, because you're like, okay, something's going on. I don't want to know what it is, but I don't want people to say bad things about my students on the news, so I'm going to go over there and investigate. So I kind of went and I danced in the middle of the dance floor so that I could just sort of, I was a cop, y'all, but I was a nice cop. I was just there, grooving, you know. And I tried to do a little bit more than, don't want to look completely awkward and out of place so that it's just like, oh God, Miss Cole, go away. So I got my groove on, but you can't really get into it either, because then you're the one who ends up on the news with people saying unkind things about you. So yes, exactly. Investigative dancing. And I did accidentally get grabbed on the tushy once, but it was not like they were trying to like grab a student or anything, like another person, but they like turned around, their hand was out, and that was where my bum was. And they're like, Miss Cole, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm like, it's dancing, it's nothing, you bump into people. But after that, things calmed down. So all in all, and I talked to one of the other adults who was there. Oh, the kids these days, they're wild. And like, I turned and looked, and I was like, what exactly is your definition of wild? There were no fights. Their clothes stayed on. I mean, girls, tradition, take your shoes off and you leave them under your table. Everybody knows. And everybody dances, girls dance barefoot, hopefully fairly carefully so they don't get, stepped on by the guys' shoes. And the guys take their jackets off. Like, no, none of the guys were shirtless, and there were no wardrobe malfunctions from the girls. It was all, I mean, there was some booty shaking, but I mean, really, like, they're teenagers. What was it? They like to gyrate. and they're significantly above 13, okay? So, yes, I think liking to gyrate is perfectly okay for high school students. Yeah. And we had a little selfie booth there, and we took some pictures so you can see the how long my braid was there. And of course I marked the end with the purple flower, because purple is the best color. But it made for a really late evening. And none of the none of the drinks were caffeinated. I'm like, can we spike with at least that? I was so tired, you guys. I was so tired when I got home. Like, I don't think I even showered off. Like, I took off my eyelashes, I washed my face, I took out the contacts, and I took the flowers out of the pins, but I even left my braid in. I was like, I'm going to bed. I went to bed. I was so tired. I was so tired. So the next thing is the Georgia primary was this week. It was Tuesday. Yeah, I got home from it and I was like, yay, I voted. I secured my vote. Um, so yeah, you can see, and that again, selfie. So it says it backwards, and I think it's also kind of cut off there with the screen. But it says I'm a Georgia voter inside the little peach, and it says I secured my vote. We get stickers when we're done voting. So one of the things I'm going to put down in the description once the chat is over are some links to the candidate websites for some of the Georgia Democratic candidates that were, I guess, successfully nominated. We elected them, but we didn't elect them to office. We elected them to be our party, the Democratic Party choices. So I did request the Democratic ballot. Yes, Andrew, our congressperson is Marjorie Taylor Greene currently. And if you'd been in Steve's Ask Away last night, that was one of my questions. I really don't know what to think about. I really just don't know what's going to happen come November. I think that, there were a lot more Republicans who turned out for the primary than Democrats, like almost 40-1, like ridiculous. On the other hand, she got more than twice as many votes as the next runner-up. She got like almost 70% of the vote. But she does have name recognition going for her, which is going to work against our candidate, who is Marcus Flowers, by the way. And I'll have that down in the comments. She definitely gets a lot of airtime. He's got to get working on that. One of the things people are saying is, we want to know what your policies are. Don't just say, I'm going to run to defeat Marjorie Taylor Greene. We need more than that. And I agree with them. I'm not sure what to think, though, because the people who vote in the primary tend to be the most polarized of the constituency. So honestly, I'm surprised that she didn't win by more. So I'm hoping that there are people who are registered Republican, who are conservative voters, who are not happy with her, and who didn't, who didn't go to the primary. That's going to be a significant, portion of who we need to reach. Yeah. So that's, I was glad to be able to get out and, support people that I believed in. And there were candidates on the ballot. There were also ballot measures, which are all pretty simple. I'm hopeful that they'll all pass. For some, local, policies that will, there was a transportation one, authorizing taxes to raise funds for local transportation. So I'm hopeful that passes. So yeah, Tuesday was a good and bad day. And then the other thing, and I think I talked about this on in the live stream on Wednesday, was after we voted, we went out and we got donuts. So that also was nice. So the primary itself and being involved in that, in our government in that way, it's just one thing that you can do. It's nice to be around people who want to be involved. I like that. So next, oh, well, wait. Next I want live stream. Whoops, wrong button. Sorry, guys. So prom update. Yeah, so I have pictures for most of these. Primary results. Stacey Abrams was running unopposed. Somebody was actually running on the Dem ticket against Warnock. And I mean, he won. That's great. But I was like, I still haven't figured out what was going on there. So yeah, the primary results. And then the next thing, I guess this was last, too far. Sunday, because it was really hot Saturday, and I was at the Y, and then I came home and I was super tired, and they were thinking about going to the zoo, but it turned out I was like, do you really want to go outside today? It's like super hot. It's like 92. And they went out on the porch. They're like, we're coming back in. I said, well, you can go tomorrow morning. It'll be cooler. And then we checked the forecast, and it was supposed to rain. But then it didn't. So we all went to the zoo together. And because I was no longer exhausted, I got to go along. So yay. So we went to the zoo. And I'm going to grab the pictures again. Boop. Zoo pictures. Yay! So yeah, we went to the zoo, and we saw the giraffes. And so, oh yeah, we got there in the morning, and it was feeding time. So I don't know if you can see, but this little guy just got given a grape. He was so happy. He was so happy with his grape. It was so much fun to watch. He was very happy with his grape. The meerkats were like super active. They were just like racing all around their enclosure, looking up. Oh gosh, they were so fuzzy. And then this is one of the accounts that I follow is I think it's just, I don't know if it's not hourly, but like maybe daily Fennec or something like that. But yeah, the big-eared moose. They were all snoozing, but you can still see them big ears. And this is the Komodo dragon. He's a big guy. He's peeking out at us. And I think the rock is heated. He likes the rock. It was a warm day, but it was not like crazy super warm yet. This was pretty shortly after they opened. And he was like tasting the air, sniffing with his tongue. And every time there's a little bit of delay on the phone, not a lot, but a little. So I would like click it, and the tongue would be back in. So I was like, fine, screw you. So I just went click, 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 click. I took like 30 photos of this guy. Guess what? I got one. I got a picture of him with his tongue out. He's not blepping. He didn't, keep it out or anything. Ouch. I just stabbed myself in the finger, and I'll tell you why that is uncomfortable in a little bit here. So yeah, I did get a picture of him with his tongue out. Yay! It is, the Chattanooga Zoo is not super big, but the weather was so nice. It was nice to walk around. It was just... Steve, there is not. But, I don't think that I would be for such a measure. That there is limited evidence that shows that the death penalty actually reduces those incidents of those crimes. So I think it would be more important to find ways to prevent that, and rather than punishing people for doing it after they've already done it, because then who does that help? Who does that help, Steve? Nobody. We just need to make it so that it's not actually possible to do. Honestly, we need to make a ballot measure that that I can have like lights and sirens just for wherever I want to go. I can just turn those suckers on, just run some red lights. Just everybody gets out of my way. I can just perpetually be my own, the emergency is me. I don't think that's going to happen. I feel a little bit bad even saying it teasingly. Anyway, more zoo pics. da 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 da. They had white-tailed deer, which are, I mean, ordinary for me, and you kind of can't see the reaching up, and they're like, I want to eat, forget the food that's actually left for me. I want to eat those leaves right there. This one here, and you can also see that, nope, over here, you can see that a lot of those branches are kind of more like sticks now. I think that poor plant has been denuded by the deer. So yeah, these are whitetails, and I grew up in Pennsylvania where they're varmints. So, but it was fun to see them just sort of hanging out where they're just like, ooh, deer, where they're not like local. And they had red pandas too, and this little guy, he was like walking around his enclosure. So yeah, I got a picture of him. He's cute. Oh, too far. All right, so back to the live stream. And anyway, I'll explain that. So then later that day, I went on a walk with my dad. And so I've actually had a couple opportunities recently to spend some time with my parents, and that's been really nice. I am very grateful that I'm so grateful that I have family that I get along with. I'm so grateful that I like my family. I look forward to spending time with them. Oh, radical bacon. I bet. I've never hit a deer. It's kind of a rite of passage growing up in central Pennsylvania. Haven't I saw there was another teacher who hit one like probably about 100 yards in front of me. And I was just like, uh-oh, bam! Ooh, that sucks. And then they pulled over, and a little bit later, and somebody else in front of me pulled over to help them. And I'm like, okay, I got a class to teach. I guess I'm going. They already have help. They've got a cell phone. I felt a little bad not stopping to help, but then I was like, somebody else had already stopped. I'm like, I'm going in. So, and then I found out it was another teacher. Like, oh, I should have stopped to help. But then who would have had my class? Somebody would have had to cover my class. So mixed emotions there. So anyway, I'm so grateful that my parents live close enough that I can visit with them regularly. I'm planning to get together with them again this coming week. And then their 50th wedding anniversary is this summer. So, we are going to be going back up to Pennsylvania to get together with additional family, and we're going to spend some time together, and that's going to be pretty awesome. But I do have, just the picture that came up for that was this. I went on a walk with my dad, and we just, this was on Sunday after the zoo, so it was pretty toasty. I think it was like upper 80s by that point. So we did not go any long walk, especially since I'd been walking around the zoo all morning, and I was tired from being at the Y the previous day. So I was pretty pooped. But then I saw this flower, and I was like, I'm going to take a picture of this flower because it's a flower, and it's like, yay. And also it's purple, and purple is the best color. So, wow. Radical bacon, was that the mama deer that you were ticking off there? Because that's pretty impressive. So those of you who are familiar with central Pennsylvania, I'm hoping, it depends on how much, we are worn out and just want to go home, but I'm hoping we get a chance to go to Knoebels Grove. I don't know if I've been back since we moved. I'm pretty sure I haven't been back since we moved down here. But yeah, Knoebels Grove in Elysburg. One of the consistently, the Phoenix wooden roller coaster is consistently rated either among the best or sometimes the best wooden roller coaster in the world. So it's a lot of fun. Wait, did I say poop? I mean, I did just now, but that's okay. I think that's PG-13 acceptable. I think that's kid friendly. All right, so back to the regular live stream. What is next? Let's find out. Yes, the YMCA. As I mentioned, I spent the last Saturday at the Y, and I have, because I completed the, or in the Livestrong program, they gave us guest passes. So I took one of my guest passes and I used it on a Saturday because I'm like, look, I have a limited number of these, and being near Harrisburg. Harrisburg isn't Eastern PA. It's like a little bit southern central PA. It's not Eastern. No. Anyway, so I got the guest pass and I'm like, I'm going to save this for when I have multiple classes that I want to go to. And I knew I was going to have to pace myself. And I did, and I made it through. But let me tell you, by Sunday, I was tired. Like Saturday, I got back, washed, and I was like, I'm done. I'm really tired. And I napped. Sunday, I was mobile, but I got up early and it was nice. So I went for a walk to, catch Pokemon because that's my thing. I do that. And also it's cool in the morning. And then, and also it said it was supposed to rain later and then it didn't. So we went to the zoo, but it was supposed to rain later. And then we got back and it still wasn't raining and it said the rain was supposed to hold off till 5. So I was like, hey Dad, remember we talked about going for a walk? Want to go for a walk? So then on Monday, I was really tired. And not only was I tired, but that's when the delayed onset muscle soreness really kicked in. So I went to the Y and I did the 8 a.m. body pump class, and then the 9:30 bar class, and then the 11 o'clock Zumba class. So I had a little bit of time in between classes where I could sit down, sort of recuperate, catch up on my tweet chats for teaching, rehydrate, go potty, all that good stuff. Oh yeah, and of course, spin the Y's Pokestop. Very important. And so anyway, so when I went to the bathroom, I heard around the corner some thumping, and I peeked and I was like, they have a heavy bag. So I made a splurge, and get my picture up here. I purchased a set of hand wraps. Now, I don't know how much detail you can see there, and it's kind of cutting off, but, oh, do I have my pointer here? Can you see the pointer? I don't think you can see the pointer. Can we see that? Just a little bit. I don't know if you can see the pointer, but I'm trying to do it. Okay, so like right here, you can see it's a little bit cut, and this is a little out of focus, but yeah. And I didn't really even notice it on my pinky until I got in the bathtub to soak, and I was like, oh, that stings too. And you can kind of see the wrinkles from where the wrap was, but the wrap, the wrap covers like these knuckles, and it stops like here. So these knuckles are bare in the wrap. And so let's see, maybe you can see it. I don't know. You can see I got like boo-boos on my fingers, just a tiny little bit. They're a little bit pink. And so, so it stings a little bit, but not like bad. No, not Pokestop, Pokestop, not Pony Slap. Like in dun. Wake up. Dude. You awake? I don't think I have anybody in there. Like, oh no, can you see? Let's see. This is one of my Pokemons. And he's hanging out at one of the Pokestops. So yeah, I realize Pokemon Go is not, the in thing these days, but it's fun and it's free. I like free. Oh no, okay. I was like, I looked down in the YouTube version, and I was like, I'm frozen. I'm like, no, that's just me like pausing and then looking for my dude. I'm so glad you're here, Sarah. Steve, I'm not sure that is PG-13 acceptable. So yeah, and then I went back today, and I did not. I went to the 8:15 body pump class, and I went to the 9:30 bar class. But first, I got there early enough that I wrapped my hands and I did 15 minutes on the heavy bag, and that was a lot of fun. But then I decided, I was at bar and I was looking outside. I'm like, it really looks nice. So after bar, I checked the weather and it said it was like 74, 72, 74 degrees out. I was like, okay, I'm not going to wait around because that ends at 10:30 and then the class is until 11. Oh, and something I had forgotten the previous week was that this particular Zumba class is not an hour. Oh no, it's an hour and a half. Woo! Yay! So yeah, gracious. Yeah, to he him VL3, I saw that. But I need to be careful. Like, I have to limit my playing because we do not have unlimited data. So I like run right up against my data limit and occasionally go over, but we have like shared data on our plan, so I'm usually okay. So I haven't really looked into that. Also, it's one more thing, and there are a lot of things. So yeah, today instead of doing Zumba, I packed up my stuff and I went for a walk down in downtown Chattanooga, and it was lovely. But I've really enjoyed going to the downtown Y and doing different things, and it's been fun to, get a different variety of exercise. All right, and last but not least, moving back. So I went to the Y today, but it was hard to get up this morning because last night was graduation. And it made for a long day, you guys, because graduation starts at 8. But we have a homeroom class. It's about 20 minutes a day, and we stay with the same group of students. Like, they have the same homeroom while they're in high school, ideally. Obviously, if they're with a teacher who's about to retire or someone who moves or something like that, then they end up with a different teacher or something like that. But this year it was my group's turn to graduate. So this year I had seniors, and so I had to be there at 6:30. Well, it's about a 40-minute drive from school to home, so I get done at 3:30. Get home, sit down. By the time I'm actually relaxed, I have to get moving again. So I was like, I'll just stay. So I just stayed, and it made for a long day. Radical Bacon, they did their best. But the speeches were pretty boilerplate. There is a graduation speech going around from a student in Florida about having curly hair. That's pretty, very clever, and definitely pushes some boundaries there. Yeah, Andrew. So yeah, there were several. We have I think it was interesting because the class president, I think, actually welcomed everyone and introduced like the guests, and then the salutatorian speech was first. But usually, like, I think of the salutatorian being, welcome to graduation, like they salute you. But anyway, so that was a little bit different. And then the valedictorian speech, and which it's valedictory, so that means ending. So it should come last. But then after, nope, the last one was, no, it was after the names were read and everybody got their diploma case, because of course they don't give you the diplomas right away. And I guess that makes sense, because with the hat throwing, and they want to make sure that you actually get the diploma. They hand those out later. Students can come by the school during planning and pick them up, if they just want to leave with their friends and family. And then so after they call everybody's name, our third honor gives the closing. So, and I don't think we had anyone give a prayer this year. I think they have had some students choose to do that in the past, if I remember correctly, because I remember there being prayer at graduation, being kind of surprised by it, but I think I remember that was the case, that was what the student chose to do. So yeah, Scotchy, exactly. I can kind of see it. Yeah, I like the idea of having the class choose someone who will speak to them as a group. Um, of course, all of the speeches have to be vetted. So it's not, they were pretty stilted. And of course some of that's just, you're speaking at graduation. Everybody's watching you. And just because you're chosen by your classmates or you have the highest GPA or close to the highest GPA, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're comfortable speaking in front of like pretty much everybody you know. And I mean, it's not like these are people that you're going to have to face again. It's not like it's, even seasoned competitive speakers, in clubs and stuff. It's different when you're in front of people that you're going to have to see again. When you're in competition and you're in front of a bunch of judges that you've never seen before and you're probably never going to see again, except maybe at the next competition, they're not going to remember you. Who cares? But here in front of people that you actually, I mean, some of them you care about and respect. I mean, if you screw it up, like, your parents have their phones out, and you got it on a microphone, so their phone's gonna catch it, and then they're gonna tease you about it for eternity. So yeah. So let me pull my pictures back up because I have pictures from graduation. So this is my group of seniors. And so I blurred faces just like I did with prom. But they were a good bunch. I have some very, very fond memories of the time that I got to spend with them. And I'm very grateful for that. So next year, presumably, I will have freshmen. So we'll see how that goes. And then this is actually a current senior that I had as a sophomore in English class, and a previous senior, the student, well, I guess not student anymore, but the young man in the middle was a senior last year. And it was great to see. And they were friends, throughout high school. And they both came back last year and visited me a couple of times. And when he was a senior and the one all the way over was a junior, and I didn't have either of them in class then. But it was just really nice. It was nice to see both of them. And because I saw the senior, I was like, oh, hey, and we got a picture together. And then I saw them later, and it was both of them. I was like, oh, because it's like they're buddies. So, so yeah, that was, and if you notice, all of that was just from me. So personally, aside from the pressure to get all the grading done, and students like literally turning in work after the last minute, can I bring my grade up 1 point? And I was, fortunately by that point, I'd actually finished grading, and they handed in one little classwork assignment. So I was like, okay, I'll see. But I was like, I put it in, but now that I've already put the finals in, one classwork assignment doesn't affect your average as much as it did before, unfortunately. And the final had brought his grade up, but it was like at that, almost like high C, almost B. He's like, will it bring me up to a B? And I'm like, dude, like, you had been failing before you turned in your late work. And then it pulled you up, not just to passing, but up to a C, and then up almost to a B. And now you're just like, can I turn in one more late? But I'm glad you turned it in. So there was that. And my students were very understanding about me saying, look, I will bust my butt to get these late grades in. At this point, I'm not making promises. I will just promise to do my best. And they were very, very understanding of that. As much as I tried to be understanding about them saying, you give a lot of work, Miss Cole. I'm like, well, yeah. But I don't, given that I had some students who had high A's, one of the things I talk with them about is the necessity of identifying their own priorities, and of navigating the sometimes difficult conversations with the people that they care about who might have expectations that are different. So, Sarah, probably not the majority of them, because God, that's a lot of people. But, and I do, actually one of those seniors, signed with a college, and I popped in and I was like, how did I not know that you didn't tell me? He's like, it was on my Snap. I'm like, oh gosh. That's like, I think the one social media that I don't follow, that I guess with this new group, I'll see if I can't sign up for a Snapchat. But gosh, it's like so much. It's like, okay, so there's Facebook, and you don't have to worry about MySpace anymore. So there's Facebook, and there's Twitter, and there's Instagram, and there's TikTok, and there's Snapchat, and then there's LinkedIn, and there's, well, there's Skype, but that's not really social media so much. Slack, that's the one I was trying to think of. There's Slack, and there's Discord. I think that's all of them that I know of. There's probably more that, like, oh gosh, there's just so many. Steve, I had some, there were some students who did that at ours as well. And it's in our area, we do what we can to help students have what they need. But it's not just an act of rebellion against school. Sometimes it's also an act of rebellion against the idea that you have to spend money to be acceptable. A lot of Georgia 14 is the poorest district in Georgia. And so, yeah. So some of our students, I had a student who asked me, are these shoes okay? And he was wearing sneakers. And I said, I would think so. I said, it's not my decision, but, don't say anything about it. It should be, they weren't dress shoes, but they were clean. He said, yeah, and they're new. And I'm just like, it shouldn't matter. You're wearing your robe over it anyhow. Andrew, no, uniforms are not common in our schools. I think they might be more common in metropolitan areas. I'm not really sure of that. Scott G, yeah, I've started, or I had started, haven't done anything with it in a while. I had started working with Instagram as a way to sort of really encourage myself to think more visually. Like when I get ideas, it comes out as like text. I generally don't take pictures of stuff. I'm really bad about not taking pictures. Not bad necessarily, but I'm just like, I'd rather just experience it. I don't go through my photo albums a lot. One of my goals this summer is to actually sit down with my parents and go through some of our old photos. Yeah. Some public schools do, but it's more, it's much more laid back than the private schools. But at public schools, it's more likely to be just like a polo shirt in this color and khakis or pants that are brown, black, navy. The public school uniforms tend to be more budget friendly, I guess. Sarah, I'm in the uniforms not being great. Yeah. Nah. Just, wear clothes. Because even the statement that they reduce bullying, they don't. They really don't. Students come up with all sorts of ways to, adjudicate into who's into what social strata and, what's okay and what's not. It'll come down to, you know, the brand of shoes that you wear, the backpack that you carry, or things like that. Um, and yeah, nah. I mean, it's a societal thing. We are in a society that sorts and organizes and ranks people, so that, you know, that trickles down to our children. Yay. All right. Well, I'm going to go back to general use, which takes that away, and I'm gonna, I guess, wrap this up. Um, if actually that was not one of the photos that I included. The student whose work that I shared in my new series, where I shared exemplary student work, that was another student who graduated last night. So it was, and that was a student who I'd had as a sophomore, and then I got to have as a student again as a senior. Yeah, Scott G, absolutely. So I would love to have feedback on that. I really am looking forward to sharing more student work. Actually, speaking of which, I'm gonna pop over here. I did have one more picture to share. I think, is it still there? Yes, it is. So this is, if you watched my video about, it was one of the videos about, a couple of them actually, where I talked about the shiny markers and the gold, the shiny gold, not aluminum foil, origami paper that I'd gotten that were donated to me. This was the project, and I showed some of the pictures, but then I got to put it up on this bulletin board, and I called them, you know, these are snow stars, because, you know, we use, you know, oh, you're a special snowflake, and we use that in a derogatory way. But, you know, snowflakes are unique and beautiful. And so calling someone a special snowflake should not be an insult. Like, yes, you are special, and that's awesome. So I had students identify things that they liked about themselves, things that they were proud of, achievements, things that maybe not on their own made them, you know, maybe a lot of people are smart or empathetic, or there are quite a few people in the chorus, but it's the combination of these traits that help to make you unique and special. And that's pretty awesome. So I got to do that, and that was pretty awesome too. So yeah, and now students are done. We have 2 days, teachers have 2 days next week, Tuesday and Wednesday after Memorial Day. And then the following Monday, we leave for Disney World. So I will be back in 4 weeks, hopefully with lots of pictures from Disney to share with you, maybe with an update from Marcus about the campaign, hopefully with no bad news, but we'll see what the future holds. And I hope that you will share some of the wonderful things that are happening with you in the comments to this video. I am going to skedoodle and probably, honestly, start getting ready for bed. Thanks so much for coming to visit me, everybody. I love all of you, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Yeah, that's right, Scott. Disney. Yay. Bye, everybody.